Ellen Pompeo, Imogen Faith Reed, Mark Duplass, and showrunners explain their Natalia Grace ending. Good American Family creator Katie Robbins, co-showrunner Sarah Sutherland, and the cast of the Hulu series unpack where their story ends, what it says about bias around Grace's true story, and if there could be another season to follow the real-life updates. The differing perspectives, which proved to be contradictory, had been promised by creator Katie Robbins. We start the story in Christine and Michael Barnett's version of events, and that slowly starts to shift over time, and we're led to question if our understanding of what we've been seeing the whole time is actually what happened. The writer and co-showrunner explained to The Hollywood Reporter of the series' goal. Doing so allows audiences to grapple with their own biases in unexpected ways. The version of events alleged by the Barnetts, driven mainly by Pompeo's Christine, was that Grace, who has a rare and severe form of dwarfism known as spondyloepiphyseal dysplasia congenita, was a threat to their family and lied about her age. As her legal guardians, they had Grace's age legally changed from 7, the age of her adoption, to 22, which declared her an adult when they set her up with an apartment to live on her own, remaining her guardians from afar due to her disability. But when Grace began to tell the story from her perspective, Good American Family did just what Robbins set out to do. Viewers watched in confusion and horror as the powerful 5th episode showed the immense physical, emotional, and psychological struggles Grace was put through when trying to live on her own with her severe disability. "This was my first role," says Reed, who explains that since Grace has a different form of dwarfism than she does, the 27-year-old British actress worked with an acting and dialect coach, as well as a movement coach for the role. "I wanted to make sure the movement felt natural in my body, and not as though I'm portraying something that wasn't true," she tells THR. "All these elements created my own version on Natalia." Reeve, like the rest of the cast, was aware of the ID docuseries on Grace. The Curious Case of Natalia Grace concluded with its 3rd season in January, but Reed never had direct contact with the person she was playing. "I wanted to stick to playing my version on Natalia. I was so passionate about playing her. The things that I kept thinking to myself were fighting for that justice and seeing the light with Natalia and the empowerment," she says. "I'm really honored that I got to do that." After exploring allegations taken from court proceedings and public reports to dramatize multiple conflicting points of view, the series by its end clarifies the debate around Grace's real age. Natalia was a 7-year-old child when the Barnetts adopted her, and she was 8 years old when they set her up to live on her own. From our extensive research, it's an empirical fact that Natalia was a child at the time when the Barnetts left her alone. In 2024, Natalia received a U.S. passport that makes that official. But at the time of the trial, that fact wasn't allowed to be used in court. Co-showrunner Sarah Sutherland explains to THR. "As devastating as that is, it's been incredible seeing people on social media talking about the show's plot twist, and how they've changed their minds about the story having now seen episodes 5, 6, and beyond." The finale's confirmation of Grace's age now reframes the entire series, and particularly that 5th episode when Reed portrayed Grace as an 8-year-old learning to live on her own. When we first meet Natalia, she's 7. As someone who is 20 years older than Natalia, hair and makeup did such a beautiful, amazing job of transforming me into this 7-year-old. And when I was transformed, it changed me, says Reed. Then when we shift to episode 5, the makeup is so drastically different. She's just been abandoned. She can't wash her hair. She can't look after herself. Of course, she's 8. And she has dwarfism, and it's just so heartbreaking, and it really translates. Reed says she worked with the show's episodic directors, including Liz Garbus, who directed that episode, titled Too Hurty Without It, in movement sessions to learn to walk as Natalia, but make it genuine in my own body and natural, and not like I was portraying something that wasn't true for me. Something that helped her, she said, was remembering the pebbles that the end of the series revealed were in Grace's shoes, contributing to her pain, and explaining the bloody socks found by Christine, which she used as evidence of Grace having her period and being older than she claimed. That was something that helped my movement, the way it changed my physicality. Duplass, who played her on-screen adoptive father, was moved by the shift of perspective that viewers will now have on that episode after watching the finale. We don't really know how old Natalia is as a viewer as we're watching this story. He tells Star of the experience watching the series. Imogen is playing someone that could plausibly be older pretending to be that age, or is actually that age, and then she has to play someone that is actually older while consistently giving us a Natalia that we can believe in through the whole thing. Those little nuances and expressions that made her feel a little bit older sometimes or a little bit younger sometimes made you ask, is she acting? Is this real? That to me is where the brilliance of her performance lies. Sutherland says that according to the World Health Organization, WHO, more than 50% of all people will experience a disability at some point in their lifetime. It is not a niche topic, she says, yet societal bias against people with disabilities is a topic that's still poorly understood. It's so rare in this day and age for people to change their perspectives on something and to admit their own biases, she says. Our hope is that the show helps to normalize that type of admission, even if just for a few people. For Robbins and Sutherland, this final act of Good American Family was why they wanted to tell the story in the first place. This story stabbed me in the heart, and I think if anyone other than Katie had approached me with it, I wouldn't have had the trust to say yes, says Sutherland of her co-showrunner, having written and produced 50-plus episodes of television together. Katie's vision for the series took what could have become a salacious, lowest common denominator thrill ride and kept the thrill, while also bringing the audience on a journey of questioning their own monstrosity, their own bias. Despite the series not letting Christine or Michael off the hook in the end, the pair never faced legal repercussions after they were charged with neglect of a dependent. Michael was found not guilty in 2022. The following year, the charges against Christine were dismissed. In Good American Family after the trial, Christine stands by her decisions when pressed by her friends and Michael, and even when questioned by her sons. Pompeo says she had to commit to Christine's truth in order to find the truth in her final performance. I feel like for someone to take such dramatic steps, they're really convinced they are right. The Grey's Anatomy star tells Tayar of stepping into Christine's shoes. It would take a tremendous amount of humility for someone to admit they're wrong. People just don't do it right. We see a lot of that right now. It's much easier to stay in your ego bubble and keep committing to what you think is the truth. She continues, and so at the end of our show, I don't know if it's method or what, but I didn't know how to receive or how to play the information we get. So I tried to do what most people do and shove it down and make excuses for it. There is so much nuance to the scripts. There are so many moments that could be either this or that. I could be either fully committed or fully full of shit. And that was a life jacket for me in this moment. You never really know if she believes what she's selling or if she doesn't. Whether or not Christine sees the light, Pompeo says the truth is there for viewers. The character I play is very good at manipulating people and getting people to do what she needs them to do. She's very skilled. But I think the receipts are there, she says, also referencing the pages of damning Facebook messages from Christine used in trial discovery that were shown in the finale. We know what we see, what there was physical evidence of. But again, there's receipts for a lot of things, and that doesn't ever seem to matter. People can sort of say whatever they want, and people somehow believe what people say and not what they see. What Pompeo is touching on was what Robbins found herself most taken aback by in her years spent researching for the series. This show dances in a lot of different genres, but one of the genres that it skirts around is horror tropes, particularly in those early episodes. And at the end of the day, the thing that is the scariest is that you can have some pretty clear-cut facts, or what we think of as being facts, and yet in the court of public opinion, and in the court of Indiana, that doesn't actually end up changing things, she says. That is one of the most important ideas in this show, that the truth sometimes doesn't even matter.